You hear that? This is what a lot of people do when you're talking about a topic or a subject they don't like. They're not really listening anymore because they're in their own thoughts. They're mad, so they're going to miss some points. I ask you to stop. Listen to something in its entirety, even if you don't agree. Pause it, make some notes if you'd like, and listen. A lot of the stuff that you're clickety-clacketing about and typing like Kermit the Frog, you'll see that I address it. But when you're doing this, you're not listening. All right, guys. Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. So on this channel, we talk about a lot of different things. I talk about topics for male and females. I speak about things for our young people, those who may be older. I think that the channel can be beneficial to all people of all ages. Sometimes we have cultural differences where certain things that I'm speaking about may not be practical or realistic for your culture. So take it with a grain of salt. This message is, or this video, we're going to be talking about it's not hazards because that's the strong word, but what men should consider when they're thinking about dating single mothers, okay? I would say don't do it. Don't do it, okay? For different reasons, and I'm going to give you the reason why. Now, I understand that there are success stories. We do understand that there are people where they met, it worked out, they're living happily ever after. Of course, we don't get the in-between stories because of any relationship, there's going to be some challenges. But there are success stories of men who married, who dated, and then married single women with children, single mothers, or divorced women with children, and the relationship worked out. Okay, so it is possible. But I'm going to talk about the majority that probably does not work out. Okay, or if they are in a relationship, there's a lot of unhappiness going on. There's a lot of dissatisfaction on the end with that man. And if I was sitting my sons down, who I have two, what I would advise them, and it's up to them to consider this, okay? Again, this is not to bash women. This is not to go against women. Some women, they have babies out of wedlock. Some, they were married and divorced, and they have custody of their children. Okay, so there is really a difference. There's a difference between a single mother, a person who was never married and had children, and then a person who was married, was in a relationship, had a husband, and they're divorced. You know, you're still raising your children as a single person, but the circumstances are different. But the end result is basically still the same. You're still a single person raising a child. Okay? So different circumstances, same result in the end. So there are some women who are just having children, just keep having children. And then they turn around and they are looking for a good man. A lot of times they prefer a man without children, ironically, to take care of their children, to be with them. And if the man doesn't want to be with them because they have children, then they are offended and they feel like that man, he's discriminating against them, or they try to guilt them. But ladies, we have to realize that is a man's right to not want to date you. Just like if you were single or if you had no children, it's your right to not want to date a man who has children. Doesn't make him bad. It doesn't make you a bad person. It is simply your preference. Because there is a huge difference between dating a single person and dating a single mother. Okay? So let's talk about it. I feel like there's something I forgot to say, but it is not my intention. So I thought I'd write these things down so that I don't miss anything. I may not cover everything, but I wanted to state some key points about what I believe about dating single mothers and why this could be a problem. And ladies, why, if you do not have children, just wait. Don't go out there getting yourself pregnant. It makes it a little bit more difficult for you. You're going to make poor choices, and sometimes you will settle because you feel like you're less than, and you're not less than. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. And so we're not going to look at single mothers. A lot of times I hear people, they'll say things about single mothers or this, single mothers or that. But at the same time, hello, that mother did not create those babies by herself. There's a father who may have passed away. They may be divorced, or he is absent. Okay? And a lot of times that absent father who's not taking care of his children is your friend. So a lot of times the guys that are talking down to this woman as if she was a sperm bandit and hatched a baby alone, they say this, they are turned off by women who have children, or single mothers. Well, there's a single father out there somewhere. Okay, some are taking care of the children, some are involved, they co-parent, and then there's some who are not. And he's your buddy, and he's your friend, and you're hanging out with this guy who does not take care of his children, who's not accountable or responsible. And what does it say? Show me your company and I'll show you who you are. So the scarlet letter that is often placed on women with children and single mothers, hello, come on guys. So with that being said, let me go through my list of things to consider and why you probably should not date a woman with children if you can avoid it. Number one, they're someone else's child. Doesn't mean you hate them, doesn't mean you mistreat them, it doesn't mean you are supposed to treat them as if they're the plague, because that is not correct. But they are someone else's child. Okay? And what that means is that even if you raise a child, you may find yourself on the outside when the child defaults to the father for weddings, dances, or when they don't agree with you. Okay? We are made up of 46 chromosomes. 23 is mom and 23 is dad. So a part of the father is in that child as well as the mother. That part, regardless of, even if the father is absent, and even if the child is saying they don't love their dad or they're mad at their father, well, that's because they actually love their father while they behave that way. If you don't care, or they care, because a person you don't care for cannot hurt you. You know, they could upset you, but you're not going to have this lifelong chip on your shoulder about it where you act out and you do this. Even if they have a deadbeat father or deadbeat mother, they still love their parent. They're still attached to them in some way, even if the attachment is to be angry at them. So number one, they are someone else's child. And what that means when I say that, if you end up raising the child, sometimes you may find yourself on the outside when the child defaults to the father for weddings. That means they may want their father to walk them down the aisle. They want their father to sit at the table with them. They want their father to take them to dances. Sometimes there are fathers who they're co-parenting just fine, but the child is going to choose their dad, or they may feel conflicted. And if they're conflicted, you're the one that's going to get your feelings hurt, not the child. And of course, if they don't agree with you, this is where you're you're going to remember that they're someone else's child. Number two, bonds can be broken. So let's say you're dating this lady with a child or children. You get close and you're bonding with a child, and that can be very risky because guess what? You as a man, you can be easily dismissed when she breaks up with you. Okay, you can easily be told you're not the father at any given time. If there's a breakup, if there's a disagreement, and she realizes and she sees that you really care about the child, she can weaponize the child. Okay, keep in mind, guys, that these are the worst case scenarios that I'm giving you. There can be happy endings and flowery endings, but this is a side of dating women with children that you have to look at and you have to consider. Okay, and sometimes this can really devastate a man who is given a lot of himself and his heart and really got attached to the child, and then they break up and the lady's like, get lost, beat it. All right, you're gonna spend more money. You're gonna spend a lot more money than you would if you were dating someone who does not have children, or if let me explain, because sometimes you could be dating a person who doesn't have children and you guys are spending money regardless, but it's still different from when you're spending on a woman and her children and all these things. The expenses are very different. So you're going to spend more money. So depending on the kind of father the children has, or the children have, you may find yourself heavily supporting that woman and her children. Okay, if she does not have her own money and supporting, and she's relying heavily on you, you're going to be supporting her a lot. You'll save a lot more with a single woman or being on your own. The spending is different. Okay, yes, now there are some women, they have children and you never see them, and when you're first starting, you probably shouldn't really be seeing her children anyway, but there are some women that totally abandon their children so they could live that single life and act like she doesn't have children or she keeps them away from you, but that's something bad. That says something about her. She's going to choose you over her children. That is a bad character flaw. Okay, so you're going to end up spending a lot more money when you're dating someone who depends on you financially. I am single and I'm a mother. I was married. I'm not married anymore. My children are older. One is an adult, and the others, they're older. Okay, they're not adults yet. But I have my own stuff. I have my own place, home, car, money, savings. I am doing that. Okay, and so I personally do not want to be dating anybody because I like my life the way that it is at this juncture and how it is, and I want to focus on my family. That's my focus. You understand? But what I'm saying is I will not depend on someone financially. But there are women who, and I thank God for that, okay, that I'm able to do this. But when you're dating someone who has no money or very little money and she's children, all these expenses and everything, it's going to hit you hard. Okay? And she needs you and she wants you. It's going to hit you hard. Okay? And being a single mother, I'm not upset if someone is like, oh, I don't think I want to go out with anybody that has children. It's fine. I'm not going to take offense to it. I am a single mother. Okay? I'm not taking offense to it. I'm not upset. I don't see it as a badge of shame, a badge of dishonor and oh. I don't think of it that way. Okay. But I completely understand that that is someone's prerogative. And I when I hear other women that's sort of trying to push that and making men feel bad, well, why not? Because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. Okay. All right. So we said you're going to spend a lot of money. This is especially true if she does not earn a substantial amount. Okay. Next thing is you may have conflicting values between yourself and the mother and the children's father. Views on child rearing may be different. Your views on responsibilities, your views on the corrections can be a source of conflict between yourself, the mother, and the father. And at the end of it all, you will be told, whether directly or indirectly, that you are not their father. It does not happen in all cases. It doesn't happen in all scenarios. But that can happen. We're talking about worst case scenarios here. We're talking about not all mothers are going to do this. Okay? Not all mothers are going to sit there and you're not the daddy. That's rude. That's disrespectful. But I'm giving you worst case scenarios because you have to understand that and realize that there are people that are that way. There are women who have a full kangaroo pouch of children and they have an entitled mindset on top of it. And there's this expectation that you are supposed to do certain things. And then on top of you doing things, you don't have a voice. They want to remind you that you are not the father and they don't agree with you. And then to shut you down, they're going to say you are not their dad. Okay. And then the father comes in and shuts you down if he's present. You see, so you're sort of in this bad situation. Next thing that can happen is the children won't listen to you. They'll remind you that you're not my dad. That can easily come up if the child does not agree with something that you are saying. Let's say the child is playing a lot of video games or coming in late or wearing certain things and you are there, right? Or you guys are somewhere and the child is behaving in a manner, you're going to feel, when you're trying to correct the child and how they're acting or behaving, or you're trying to say something, they're not going to listen to you because you're not their father. Sometimes they're troubled children. They could be missing their father and they resent your presence. Sometimes you find yourself paying for the missteps of their father. So you can't say anything. And let's just talk about the women that have these misbehaving children. Don't listen, they don't have any manners, all of that. And they're just not going to listen to you. You don't have time for that. Okay? She's going to say, just leave them alone. Just this. Especially if she's treating them just, she spoils them. And you can't say anything. It's going to be a conflict. Let's say you marry her or you start to really see her, you will find that there are these boundaries all the time where even though you're present and you're there and you're trying to get to know her or you guys are in a relationship, there will be moments, especially in this era with her children, where this is off limits for you. And once the child figure that out, they are going to play on that. And so you always find yourself on the outside. The next thing is roles can be forced upon you that you're not ready for. If you're dating a single mother, trying to date a single mother is not the same as dating someone who does not have children. Okay? So all of a sudden, roles are forced on you. You go over to pick her up, there's someone pulling on your leg. Hey, mister! Okay? It's not the same. You put your nice clothes on, here comes a child with a little paint on their hands, run towards you. So, roles are forced upon you that you're not ready for. Sometimes you simply don't fit into that role. You don't fit into it because that is not your role. You're a square peg trying to fit yourself into a circle, or you're a circle trying to fit yourself into a square peg. It's okay if you tried it and you don't like it. But the best thing to do when it comes to women with children is to just not do it at all. Because what if the children like you? Then all of a sudden here comes a psychological game. It's not working out. And then she's like, they really like you. Why? So you're gonna play games? Just don't do it to begin with. Don't do it. She has children. Just leave her alone. The reason why I say that is it's so risky. There's so much involved, and at the end of it all, the children are the ones who are the casualties. You understand? Or you may stay with her or tolerate things because now you're trapped in the psychological game that she's going to play with you with the children. All right? Choose wisely. Oh, hold on. So let's go back to choose. That's not your role. You're not obligated to be a boyfriend, a husband to someone who has children. There are men out there who will do it. They're fit for it. There are men out there who cannot have children. They may have lost their children. Their children are all grown up. There are men out there who will, but I will say, even to those men, you make sure that you examine and you recon the area and see what's going on, see what kind of family it is, so you are not taken for granted and you're not taking advantage of, and that you have to also be mindful of yourself to know your character and the type of person you are, so you don't go into her life, into her children's life, and create chaos. But the bottom line is, it is okay if you just don't fit it. Like, I don't like kids in my car. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't like people eating in my car. There's nothing wrong with that. And no one should make you feel ashamed of that. This is where you're at, and this is what it is. Perhaps later on, you'll want it. You'll be like, yay. Maybe. But for right now, you don't like it, and that is your right. No one has a right to force you to do that. Okay? So, choose wisely. Live your best life. Enjoy your freedom. Okay? Choose wisely. And the way you choose wisely is take your time and watch and observe people. Observe the women. Don't have those little, what I call silly conversations. What do you look for in a man? What do you look for in a woman? Why? So you can start acting like that? That's silly. Keep things simple, guys. Just date simple. Go out in the daytime and just sit and talk to the person. Meet up. Not meet it on the phone. Breathe in and all of this. When you're around people, and if you meet up to eat, you watch what they do. You watch how they order. You see if she orders the most expensive thing, if she's exorbitant, she's exorbitant in her spending, if she acts really bougie, if she's doing the most. This is telling you something about her character. Remember, what lies beneath, what you see on the surface is going to tell you a lot about them. Watch how they talk. Watch how they do. Look what's her conversations about. Is she sending you crazy pictures? You're going to know, but take your time and travel and get out your zip code and go overseas if you can and visit. Go to Japan and go to these places and see what's there. Right? And that will expand your horizon. So you're not limiting yourself and feeling like you need to do this. So choose wisely, live your best life, enjoy your freedom. You don't need to date a single mother. And don't let your mother or anybody force that on you. Sometimes I watch Paternity Court on YouTube and I see a guy that thought that the child was his, and then it's not his, and then the girl runs off the stand or something, and then the mother is still trying to force that son to, it don't matter. It don't matter. Yes, it does. So she tries to force him to still take care of someone else's child. No. Does she not understand what she is doing? She's not thinking of his future. She's locking him into this nonsense. What started off as deception will continue now to manipulate and trap him. But I've gone off course. Choose wisely, live your best life, and enjoy your freedom. You don't need to be the mediator, the counselor, the financier, the drop off pickup. You don't need to be in the drop off pickup lines before your time. You don't need to be the mediator, the counselor, the financier, and be in the drop off and the pickup line before your time. If you're going to be a father, you be a father in your time when you're ready. But for right now, enjoy your life. Because that's exactly what you're going to be doing when you're dating a single mother. While there are beautiful stories of blended families, there's a flip side. There's a flip side that are not always a success. Okay, so we hear about the good stuff. We see the pictures and we see the family on TikTok dancing together, which I happen to hate. I know. I'm a pessimist. I don't know, it's just something about it that's like, why? But okay, maybe I'll eventually like it, but for now I don't. It's like, sit down. So, let me read what I wrote down. While there are, while there are beautiful stories of blended families, there are beautiful stories of the man who comes to the ready-made family and they live happily ever after. There is a flip side, or there are flip sides that are not always a success. Do not be drawn in by those buttery hot cross buns, but think wisely, not by lust or by impulse. A lot of times men, you'll tolerate this and be like, because of how she looks and she smells good. Okay, she's all looking smooth and seductive, smelling like a grilled cheese sandwich, but that's not the point. When you think below the waist, you're going to make impulsive, animalistic choices, and then you'll find yourself living like a hyena. Be careful. Sometimes women will try to lock you into the bunch by having a child for you so that you are more inclined to stay. Don't do it. So that's the next thing. She already has children. There are some women, sometimes they don't want children. That's one flip side. They don't want children. So you will never be able to have your own because she already has children. She's already produced generations for another man, his seed. But then now she's like, I had my kids and I tie my tubes. I'm not doing that again, right? So now you have your children and you need to be happy with the fact that she's already had children. But here's another flip side of it, that sometimes in order to lock you in, to make sure you don't leave, she will have a child with you so that now you're more inclined to stay. Don't do it. Be wise. Here's what you can look forward to when you're dating a single mother. You're going to have babysitting services. You could be providing babysitting services, child pickup services, doctor's appointments. There'll be groceries in your car seats in the car, food in the car, tiny footprints in the car, fingerprints on the windows. You're single, if you're like me, you're taking care of your car. It's clean. And then you have to put the stroller in the bag. You got to take it out. And now you're like, take it out gently, because she pulls it out and the stroller just hit your paint. These may sound shallow, but these are the things that it's your right as a single guy just enjoying your life. This is how you like it. You like your car clean. You like these are all a part of you just enjoying your youth and your time. It may be selfish, it may seem vain, but this is you right now. And you get to enjoy yourself, and hopefully you outgrow some of it, right? The parts that needs to go, but no one has a right to tell you, no, that's wrong, okay? Just so they can put the Gerber babies in your car. Absolutely not. Lastly, I would say see yourself at a fork in the road, choosing the woman with children on one side, choosing to live free and single, or with a woman without children. The road you take will change your life. Okay? It doesn't even have to be with a woman. You can just be on your own. My point is, there's a huge difference. The road you take will change your life. Choosing to enjoy your life for a certain period of time until you are ready to settle down, living healthy, living positive, having fun, not risking your life. But if you go down here with an old lady who lived in a shoe that had so many children she didn't know what to do, it's going to take you down a certain path. It's going to change some things. You're going to change. You would have given some things. You may lose some things. You may lose some hope. You may lose a certain point of view, or the approach, the it's not innocence, but the initiative and the desire that you had to try with this family, it can be destroyed because you weren't supposed to do that. You should have saved that for the person you should have been with so you can really enjoy it. But now you're going to have PTSD because of this experience that you had, and maybe have a bad impression. It was so bad that when you see women who are with you see single mothers, you immediately recoil and you think that they're all a certain way when they're not. If you date a single mom who was you found out she was kind of sloppy and nasty, didn't take care of stuff, she smelled like goat cheese on Wednesdays or whatever, you know what? When you see other single moms, you're like, she probably smells like goat cheese. You see what I'm saying? It ruins your thinking. So the road you take will change your life. It is, in my opinion, that women who are single, whether it's you had children out of wedlock, or you ended up divorcing, or your husband passed away, women should raise their children. That should be the first priority. Okay? We have to protect them. And this is why it's important to make wise decisions. Okay? Ladies, make wise decisions with your body. Don't just have sex unprotected. You're not married, you have a baby, or marry someone you know that he had issues and you thought, well, when I marry him he'll get better. And then sometimes you marry a person, he's great, but he passes, or the marriage doesn't work. But especially the girls who are just out there just having babies and thinking it's okay because you get big tax returns, you lose a lot in the process. So that is why it's important to make wise decisions. If you did make wise decisions, it's okay. Right now, you need to work on being a mother, improving yourself, and the focus should be on your child. And men, that is all I have. As I said, this is something I would tell my own sons. And it is to put to bed the harassment that men can get at times, or this entitled narrative that women have to make men feel ashamed for not wanting to be with you because you have children. It's way more than that. It's not, the children are not a handbag. It is a huge commitment. And I think it is rather responsible of any man to say, no, I don't want to. I would not encourage disrespect. As I said, you can't just look at the woman, you're talking down on the woman as if there was not a man involved. There was a man involved. Okay? Sometimes he's not present because she's a banshee in the way she behaves, so he cannot be in her life. And others have walked away because they're irresponsible. They just did what they did, and somehow they become your buddies. And birds of a feather flock together, correct? Show me your company, I'll tell you who you are. We're not here to dog out women. You don't have a right to do that. If you do that, then it has nothing to do with her being a single mother or not. It's a character thing, and you being a nasty person wanting to say mean and hurtful things to her to make her feel ashamed. There are plenty of women who are doing well, who are living a great life, and they're taking care of their children, and they're disciplined, and they're very mannerable. They're few and far between, but it's out there. But you do have a right to say no, I'd rather not, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I've given you reasons for why, and all the things that you will have to consider when you are making that sort of decision. Okay? Nothing to bash anybody, but just realistic scenarios and things that you will face. And I'll say, hey, thumbs up to those who everything worked out. But even when you're given the success stories, and you guys are all doing heel step, toe, heel step, steal the show on TikTok, doing all that dancing, there's some horror stories in between there somewhere. There's been some tough times. We see one side of it. And it is my job to give that scenario for you to think about, and something for women to think about as well. How sometimes you're viewed as a liability even when you're not. You understand what I'm saying? So guys, thank you for listening. I know this video is long. I don't think I'll split it. I'm just going to keep it as it is. Just listen in pieces. And yeah, peace.